Here are today's top stories. The military prepares to take custody of Senator Antonio Trillanes following the voiding of his amnesty. A Cebu mayor included in President Duterte's narco list is shot dead by gunmen inside his office. The House approves on second reading the second package of the government's tax reform. And about 33,000 metric tons of NFA rice intended to replenish the country's supply are set to arrive this September. Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Malacanang defended the legality of President Rodrigo Duterte's move to void the amnesty of Senator Antonio Trillanes, who is facing multiple charges of mutiny while he was still a military officer. This as critics question the proclamation of President Rodrigo Duterte invalidating Trillanes' amnesty. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque notes that granting amnesty requires concurrence rather than consent. Among the reasons Trillanes' amnesty was voided was his failure to apply for amnesty and his refusal to admit guilt for the Oakwood Mutiny in 2003 and other acts of adventurism. Trillanes is expected to face court-martial for these crimes. Roque says that the cases filed against Trillanes will not fall under double jeopardy since these were not heard and decided upon by the court. He added that the video circulating by Trillanes and his supporters, which showed him applying for amnesty, holds no bearing in his current situation. Roque says Trillanes must show his documents proving that he indeed availed of amnesty. Senator Antonio Trillanes will be arrested anytime once a court issues a warrant of arrest against him. This as the military prepares to take custody of the former Navy officer and senator following the invalidation of his amnesty. Rom Dulfo has his story.
Senator Antonio Trillanes IV may be arrested anytime as soon as a warrant is issued against him. This despite the pronouncement of Senate President Tito Soto that Trillanes would not be arrested as long as he is in Senate grounds. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says only the president, as well as those whose cases face a penalty of 6 years imprisonment and below, can avail of this form of immunity. The petition to arrest Trillanes is now with the Makati Regional Trial Court, and once approved and enforced, Trillanes will be immediately turned over to military custody. Department of National Defense spokesperson Arsenio Andolong explains the invalidation of his amnesty reverted his status to an active military personnel. Earlier, AFP spokesperson Colonel Edgar Arevalo said the voiding of Trillanes' amnesty automatically means court-martial proceedings against the senator will be continued. Prior to his election as senator in the 2007 polls, Trillanes was lieutenant senior grade of the Navy or equivalent to the Army rank of captain. Trillanes was one of the active and former military personnel involved in the 2003 Oakwood Mutiny, the 2006 Marines standoff, and the 2007 Manila Peninsula incident, who was granted amnesty by former President Noynoy Aquino in November 2010. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
President Rodrigo Duterte hopes to replicate the disaster response and rehabilitation system of Israel. Duterte lauded the Magen David Adom, or MDA, Israel's national organization responsible for emergency, disaster response, pre-hospital care, and blood services for its advanced response system and equipment. During MDA's demonstration, Duterte said that having technology similar to Israel would be beneficial for the Philippines, especially in times of disasters like terrorist attacks. Duterte pointed out that the Philippine government had much to improve in terms of having a more effective disaster response team. Duterte attended the MDA's demonstration following his bilateral meeting with Israeli President Reuven Rivlin and the signing of agreements with the business sector in Jerusalem. Unidentified gunmen shot dead the mayor of Ronda, Cebu City early Wednesday morning. Police say Mayor Mariano Blanco was sleeping in the mayor's office at the municipal hall when the assailant shot him. The assailants reportedly arrived on board a white van, ordered those in the municipal hall to drop on the ground, and barged into Blanco's office. Blanco's killing came months after his nephew Ronda, Vice Mayor John Ungab, was gunned down by unknown assailants. Blanco was named by President Rodrigo Duterte as one of the politicians in his narco list. Meanwhile, Ungab was legal counsel of drug lord Kerwin Espinosa. The country's inflation surged 6.4% in August this year, the highest so far in 9 years. The current rate exceeded expectations by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas and the Finance Department at 5.9 and 5.8% respectively. Inflation last reached 6.6% in March 2009. Analysts pointed to rising prices of food, alcohol, and tobacco and services, as well as global oil prices coupled with a weak peso. Bangko Sentral Governor Nestor Espinilla also says food supply issues, such as in the case of rice, pushed prices beyond acceptable levels. Budget Secretary Benjamin Diokno meanwhile noted that manufacturers took advantage of the train law to jack up their prices. The BSP hopes to find ways to restore inflation back to its target levels.
The National Economic and Development Authority calls for policy reforms in the agriculture sector to boost output and lower food prices. This as the country's inflation surged 6.4% this August, the highest so far in 9 years. NEDA Secretary Ernesto Pernia says the prices of agricultural commodities are the main drivers of inflation. Damage to agriculture brought about by a southwest monsoon and Typhoon Karding amounted to 33.5 million pesos, taking a toll on food prices. Pernia also pointed to the country's low rice supply, as well as the decrease in output of the fisheries sector as areas of concern. Pernia reiterates the passage of the amendments to Republic Act 8178, or the Agriculture Tarification Act, which is a crucial step in reforming the agriculture sector. Once implemented, this bill is expected to help bring down the prices of rice and provide farmers better access to farming technologies and high-yielding variety crops. Food issues are among the cost-push factors highlighted by Bangko Sentral Governor Nestor Espinilla, which drives prices beyond acceptable levels. Cost-push factors also propelled the country's inflation rate in March 2009. Espinilla also said continued oil price hikes due to developments in the international market have also affected transportation and power rates. Monetary officials forecast inflation to peak during the third quarter and settle back within target levels in 2019.
Still to come, the House approves on second reading the second package of the government's tax reform. Damage to agriculture in Pangasinan due to the southwest monsoon reaches 97 million pesos. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Si Hasana Pangandaman, 40 anyos, taga Marinaot East, Marawi City. Nagtitinda ng inihaw na manok si Hasana habang driver ng tricycle ang kanyang mister, mayroong 9 na anak. Kinabukasan ng unang araw ng Marawi Siege ay naglakad si Hasana kasama ang buong pamilya pababa sa Iligan City upang maghanap ng pansamantalang matutuluyan. Napadpad sila sa Steel Town kung saan mayroong itinalagang evacuation center sa nasabing barangay ng LGU Iligan. Isinalaysay ni Hasana ang mapait na karanasan nilang buong pamilya habang sila'y nagmamadaling umalis ng Marawi. Samot-saring hirap ang kanilang dinanas ng araw na iyon. Maging ang panahon ay masungit din, matinding init at bigla ang pag-ulan ang kanilang sinuong, makaalis lamang sa lugar na minsan nilang tinawag na tahanan. Tanging suot na damit at isang galong tubig lamang ang kanilang bitbit nang sila'y lumikas. Takot, pagod, gutom ang baon ng kanyang buong pamilya. Sa kabila ng pagsubok na ito, hindi sinukuan ni Hasana ang buhay. Nagsikap siyang makapag-ipon mula sa ipinamigay ng gobyerno at naisipang maglagay ng tindahan sa kasalukuyang tinitirhan sa Sarimanok 10th City Site 1. Mula sa DSWD Region 12, ang cash assistance ay kanilang pinamili ng paninda at ngayoy pinagkukunan niya ng gastusin para sa pag-aaral ng kanyang mga anak. Nabahagian din sila ng CFSI ng isang refrigerator para sa kanilang munting tindahan. Positibo si Hasana na matatapos din itong unos ng buhay. Para sa kanya, kailangan niyang magpursige para sa kinabukasan ng kanyang mga anak.
Nung natanggap ko yung 10,000, siyempre masayang-masaya ko dahil sabi ko sa sarili ko, oh, may pangpunan na tayo. Nagpapasalamat ako sa DSWD dahil kung hindi sila, hindi kami magkaroon ng konting negosyo. Maraming salamat at saka sa Pangulo nating Duterte, hindi kami nila pinabayaan.
The House of Representatives on Tuesday approved on second reading the Duterte administration's second tax reform package or Trabajo Bill, which aims to lower corporate income taxes and modernize incentives. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Dakila Cua, sponsor of the measure, said the Trabajo Bill does not impose new taxes but instead aims to create more jobs by attracting the right set of investments. The bill seeks to gradually lower corporate income tax to 20% by 2029 from its current 30% rate. Cua explained that the Philippine corporate income tax rate of 30% is one of the highest in Southeast Asia and prevents the country from attracting the much-needed foreign investment. He said that Trabajo Bill would also modernize the country's tax incentives regime to ensure it is targeted, time-bound, and effective. The proposed incentives regime will be biased to development outside urban areas. Ride-sharing firm Grab Philippines is no longer required to reimburse a 2 peso per minute travel charge that was earlier deemed unauthorized by the LTFRB. Miguel Hill has the story.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board has ordered Grab Philippines not to reimburse the 2 peso per minute charge to its riders. This as the board partially granted the motion for reconsideration filed by Grab on its order that suspended the per minute charge. In the same decision, the board, however, imposed a 10 million peso fine that shall be reimbursed to its riders through future bookings. Grab said the per minute charge was previously allowed by then Department of Transportation and Communications, which authorizes transportation network companies to set their own fares subject to the oversight of the LTFRB. A later department order issued in 2017 allows transportation network companies to have pre-arranged fares. The board earlier said that there was no mention of any travel time rate, which Grab has been collecting when it released its order on the fare structure of transportation network companies. The order states that Grab should impose a flag down rate of 40 pesos with an additional rate of 10 to 14 pesos per kilometer, excluding per minute travel charges. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The Philippines rose to 10th place in the Hinrich Foundation's Sustainable Trade Index this year from 13th place in the 2016 report. The country also outperformed middle-income nations such as Malaysia and Thailand, placing 12th and 13th spots in the year's index respectively. The Hinrich Foundation Sustainable Trade Index measures the preparedness of an economy to participate in global trade through economic, social, and environmental sustainability. Hinrich Foundation Research Fellow Stephen Olson says the Philippines was among the economies that increased its ranking in the social pillar. The Philippines was also recognized by the report as the most educated population among low-income economies and the one with the second lowest levels of air pollution. But in economics, the country fell to rank 15 this year. Damage brought by the continuous onslaught of the southwest monsoon or habaga to the agriculture sector of Pangasinan has reached 97.18 million pesos. A report from the Provincial Agriculture Office recorded 85.59 million pesos in losses in rice production. About 5,000 hectares of rice fields in 15 towns and cities in the province were damaged. Meanwhile, the aquaculture sector incurred about 2 million pesos in losses because of damage to 50 hectares of fish ponds, growing bangus, malaga, lapu-lapu, tilapia, and shrimp. 24 hectares of plantations were also hit by southwest monsoon, including eggplants, tomatoes, peppers, squash, and okra, among others. The Provincial Agriculture Office is undertaking further assessments to determine priorities in assisting fishermen and farmers in the province. About 3,000 skilled workers are needed for the rehabilitation and reconstruction of Lanao del Sur, particularly Marawi City. TESTA Director General Giling Mamundyong says they already have 30 million pesos for the training of skilled workers for Lanao del Sur. President Rodrigo Duterte has also committed to allocate funds for their training. They are also spending on materials and tools for construction such as heavy equipment. Mamundyong says they hope to start an economic and reconstruction revolution in Lanao del Sur to speed up progress in the province. Up next, about 33,000 metric tons of NFA rice aiming to replenish the country's supply are set to arrive this September. Coach Yang Yao is eyed to be permanent mentor of Gilas Pilipinas. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
As an archipelago, land transport is significant to the Philippine economy. Mandated to undertake planning, design, construction, and maintenance of national roads, the Department of Public Works and Highways, through the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, or IBRD-assisted National Road Improvement and Management Program Phase 2, or NRIP 2, carried out the improvements and comprehensive maintenance of the condition of the national roads network, including the 111.67 kilometers Katiklan-Kalibo-Aklan Capiz Provincial Boundary Road in Western Visayas, or Region 6, under long-term performance-based maintenance contract of about 5-year duration. The improvement of Katiklan-Kalibo-Aklan Capiz Provincial Boundary Road with twisting horizontal alignment and short radius curve resulted into better mobility to support the robust agricultural and tourism industry in Panay Island.
About 33,500 metric tons of NFA rice are expected to arrive in the country in the first half of September this year. NFA Administrator Jason Aquino says the shipment is set aside for Zamboanga, Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi or Zampasulta. Another 100,000 metric tons of imported rice will arrive between October and November 2018. These will serve as additional rice stocks to ease high rice prices in these areas by providing food quality rice at 27 pesos per kilo. The NFA stressed that the rice shortage affecting Zamboanga is over, which was caused by the campaign against rice smuggling. The Department of Health in the Bicol region calls on the public to stop misusing or overusing antibiotics. DOH pharmacist Maribel Cruz says this is in order to prevent antimicrobial resistance, where harmful microorganisms develop a resistance to medicines. Cruz says misusing antibiotics would render medicines ineffective and let infections persist in the body, which can increase the risk of spreading the disease to others. One example is multi-drug resistant tuberculosis that resists at least 4 of the core anti-TB drugs. A total of 368 people in Bicol are reportedly afflicted with MDR-TB. Cruz advised the public to consult a doctor before taking antibiotics, Follow and finish the correct regimen when taking medicines and stop giving excess antibiotics to others. Drugstores have also been told not to dispense antibiotics without prescriptions. Coach Yang Giao is likely to stay for good as coach of Gilas Pilipinas. Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas chairman Manny Pangilinan says Yao's mentorship will go beyond the fourth window of the FIBA World Cup qualifiers and even permanently. He says Giao was able to unite the team despite its composition coming from different franchises, especially Jordan Clarkson. He later said that the PBA is more than willing to support the cost to make him permanent coach. Pangilinan also said that Coach Chot Reyes is willing to give way should Giao get the job for good. Foreign travel operators had a taste of Filipino culture and hospitality as they toured Bacolod City to end this year's Philippine Travel Exchange, or FITEX. The tour places Bacolod City as one of the country's major destinations. Maricor Zapata tells us more.
Some 40 top international buyers at the recently concluded Philippine Travel Exchange 2018 or FITEX visited Bacolod City and Negros Occidental for 3 days early this week as a post-event tour. The guests were part of the 200 foreign travel operators who met with local sellers at the Marriott Manila on August 28 to 30. The visitors joined a culinary pilgrimage and heritage tour around Bacolod and Negros Occidental. Bacolod City Mayor Evelio Leonarda hosted a welcome dinner for the delegates at the Bacolod City Government Center lobby. Leonardo was glad Bacolod has been chosen by the Tourism Promotions Board as one of the 10 major Philippine destinations to host a post-event tour for the Philippine Travel Fair. He said hosting the post-event tour validates Bacolod's position as an increasingly popular MICE destination or venue for meetings, incentives, conventions, and exhibitions. Other post-event tours are now taking place in Bicol, Davao, Palawan, Dumaguete, Siquijor, Sumilon, and Ilocos Norte. These are for the foreign guests to experience the Philippines and encourage them to include these destinations in their travel and tour packages. First held in 1996, the FITEX is the biggest government-organized travel trade event in the country, hosted by the Tourism Promotions Board. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's top stories. The military prepares to take custody of Senator Antonio Trillanes following the voiding of his amnesty. A Cebu mayor included in President Duterte's narco list is shot dead by gunmen inside his office. The House approves on second reading the second package of the government's tax reform. And about 33,000 metric tons of NFA rice intended to replenish the country's supply are set to arrive this September. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Murato. Good day.